So we start with the developing news. We heard about just after 6 o'clock this morning that the new Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt, is going to make a statement at 11 o'clock, bringing forward measures from the medium-term fiscal plan to support fiscal sustainability. Easy for me to say.
Well, the announcement comes a fortnight earlier than expected and will fast-track billions of pounds worth of tax and spending measures.
Well, it comes as the Prime Minister is facing even more pressure this morning. 3 of her own MPs have now openly called on her to go.
Well, let's speak to our political correspondent, Tom Harwood, who joins us from Downing Street this morning. I suppose the plan will be to try and ease some of that pressure by bringing forward this announcement at 11 o'clock. The question is, Tom, whether or not it will work.
Yes, that is certainly a big question, and I suppose we could start renaming this medium-term fiscal plan an almost immediate-term fiscal plan, given the changes that we're expecting to hear about first this morning from the Chancellor and then much more fleshed out to the House of Commons at a statement at the dispatch box of the Commons at around 3:30, we expect as well. So 2 statements from the Chancellor today, and of course it's only been about 3 minutes since bond markets opened for this week in the United Kingdom. No doubt we'll bring more analysis in terms of how they are reacting to this statement, but fundamentally that's what it's all about. That's why we had this sort of 6 a.m. announcement from the Treasury that this was going to take place today. Very few people expected this to take place today. There of course are a number of reasons why it may well make sense to try and steady the markets now. Waiting 2 weeks for all of these announcements, if they have already been decided, may well be holding the country in a state of limbo, and that's something the Treasury doesn't necessarily want to do. But also it does show that really we do have a new sense of leadership in this country, an economic strategy from the Prime Minister that's been nothing short of junked by the new Chancellor Jeremy Hunt. And I suppose the question that many will be asking is who is actually in charge, who is picking the direction of this country, because it does seem that many of the manifesto pledges, or I should say leadership manifesto pledges of Liz Truss have now been junked. Indeed, the big differential points between Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak, the points on which she won her leadership election, have now been thrown away. And more than that, looking back at the 2019 Conservative manifesto, that was a manifesto that promised to keep taxes low, that championed the 19% rate of corporation tax, saying that had made the United Kingdom more competitive, said that it wanted to bring down rates of national insurance as well, and raise thresholds and all the rest of it. Well, now this is a government that seems to be committing to raising some taxes, indeed raising that tax burden higher than it was under the previous government, and that is a pretty seismic about turn. It's hard to see how the Prime Minister currently has any authority at all, and that is perhaps why we're hearing some of these moves from Conservative MPs, not only today but of course across the weekend. Yesterday 3 Conservative MPs coming out declaring they have no confidence in the Prime Minister, and I understand that the officers, the most senior officers of the 1922 committee, will be meeting today, perhaps to discuss what happens next. It seems that Sir Graham Brady, who's been away in Greece the last week, he's back today. It seems that he is minded to not pull the trigger quite yet, saying that, or his thinking goes along the lines that this government should at least have a chance to put out the full medium-term fiscal plan 2 weeks today. However, it does seem that if there was that mechanism for Conservative MPs to make their letters of no confidence count at this stage, surely that threshold would be met.